In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I set up my little home YouTube studio to get this kind of look for my videos. If you want to duplicate something similar to this, then make sure to follow along. Hello everybody and welcome to this video. My name is Vince, and in this video, I'm going to show you my little YouTube setup. It's pretty simple, but it has served me well over the past few years, and I'm pretty happy with this point in terms of the looks I can get on my videos. Again, it's nothing super professional or anything like that, but I'm happy with the results. So without any further ado, let's get into the first item that I use for my videos, which is my camera. So I currently use a Sony a7 III camera body, and I shoot my videos in just regular 1080p with 25 frames per second. I make sure that my shutter is usually, when I can set it to that, with the correct exposure and everything, it's double my frame rate. So if you want to get the most kind of like fluent looking video, you want to make sure that whatever you're shooting at with your frame rate, your shutter speed is double that. So if you're shooting 25 frames per second, you ideally want to have 1/50 shutter speed. If you're shooting 60 frames per second, you want to have 120, and so on. As for my lens, I actually use an APS-C lens, so this isn't really like a perfect match in terms of the sensor size, but I use a Sigma Art 60mm 1.4 lens. Now this works out pretty well for me because I wanted something that's kind of like wide angle, but at the same time isn't super wide angle, and this lens just managed to do that for me, and I really like the 1.4 aperture because it gets me this nice and blurry background without me needing to have like a longer focal length. So yeah, this cuts in a little bit on this lens because of the camera body, because I use a full frame camera body instead of an APS-C. Yeah, anyways, it comes out to just about 20mm focal length with the 1.4 aperture, and I quite like the look that I can get with this. And I actually have this camera plugged in with USB-C into the wall, so I don't even have to worry about charging it and changing the batteries all the time. I know it's probably not the best for battery life, but hey, I don't really care. I just wanted to have a setup that I can just sit down at any time, start recording, and I don't have a lot of setup time. I just have my camera sitting on a regular Hama tripod. I actually have a better one as well, but I lost the little top of that, so I just bought like a cheap one to set this up, and I use a ring light that is basically coming directly above me and a little on the side. So I quite like this setup because I think I get a pretty nice and flattering like look on my face when the light comes from a little bit above and a little bit tilted angle. And I usually try to have it not directly in front of me, but a little bit more to the right. As for my microphone setup, I use a Shure SM7B microphone that goes right into a cloud lifter, and then that goes into a Scarlett audio interface that basically every podcaster and YouTuber uses nowadays, and that goes into my MacBook with USB-C. In a nutshell, that is basically the setup I use for almost all of my videos, right? Now, a couple things I wanted to also mention, which I think are very important if you're trying to create a YouTube home studio, is, I'm very intentional with what I have in the background. I try to keep it pretty minimal, so it's easy to focus on what I'm saying and, my face, basically. And also, I have a couple little lights in the background, so I use the Philips Hue lights. And the reason I like them is because I can just go on my phone and I can change the color of them. I can change how bright they are. So I think it's pretty practical because I can create a lot of different looks very easily. Also, I have a nice little candle in the background just to like set the mood, add a little bit of extra to it. But that's basically my setup in a nutshell. I know it's super simple, but again, I wanted to create something that is permanent. Like I can just leave this setup at my desk. It's not gonna take up half of my living room, and I can just sit down, click record on my camera, click record on my computer, so I have both the audio and the video rolling, and I can just get recording. It doesn't take a lot of setup time for me to get started with this. I recommend you to create something similar to this if that's what you are trying to optimize for. Another important thing, if you are trying to create the best kind of looks, especially if you have windows in the background, is to shoot at the correct time of the day to get the best looking shots. So if you're shooting midday, it's usually going to be like pretty blown out in the background. I do have that in some of my videos, but to be honest, I don't really care that much about it. But now, for example, I'm shooting at sunrise, so the sun is actually just coming up right now, and yeah, basically I like to shoot either sunrise, sunset, or just after sunset is the most ideal for my apartment, because I have this set up in my living room where there are a lot of windows. But also, if you can just, you know, dedicate like an entire room towards this, and then I think that's the most practical, because you can basically just like black out all your windows, and then no matter what time of the day it is, you can just record with the same kind of looks all the time. But I personally like having some windows in the background, some nice, you know, background. Yeah, that's just my personal taste with this. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was super simple and basic, but again, I got a couple people asking on my Instagram what camera I use, what lens I use, so I thought I would cover it for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it and got some value from it. And if you want to see more content about making videos, editing videos, and also making money with videos and building a creative agency, then make sure to subscribe to my channel for more content. And I will see you guys in the next one.